All right, so in today's video, I just want to go over again the deadlift, but I want to cover more or less what there is of overcuing by either novice lifters or novice coaches, where they get a catchphrase or something they heard on social media or something they heard somewhere, and they think that is the only cue that's going to drive somebody through a lift, especially the deadlift. My philosophy is this: practice it 1,000 times yourself before you ever teach it. Don't just take the word of somebody and try to apply it to your lifters or yourself. This is all experimenting. It's a lab. You're constantly experimenting with what you're doing to find what best works for your body mechanics. So novice coaches or novice lifters, just because it worked for somebody who is an elite lifter doesn't mean it's going to work on everybody. Take the time to look at the mechanics of the lifter or yourself, experiment with it, and find out what works best. So I see a lot of times people talking about driving your knees forward harder or your hips forward harder. Both have benefits. The timing's got to be perfect on it, and it takes practice to develop both. The issue I see if the cue is only going to be drive the knees forward is it's going to put you on your toes. It's going to put you on your toes. It's going to cause the hips come forward sooner, and you're going to do more of a scoop movement, right? If you're a powerlifter and you're competing and you go for that scoop movement and you hit right here, two things can happen. One, you lock out with soft knees, or two, the bar double dips. Gets you both red lights either way. If you're overdriving the hips forward, it's the same thing. You might get into a sit position where the bar either gets away from you or it puts you more in a reclined position, and on your way up, you lock out the hips too soon. So it's more or less, you got to time it perfectly, practice it at the lightest weight possible 1,000 times over before you start adding. Anything starts breaking down, again, if you're a gym fanatic and somebody who has to have your all-time PRs, good for you, but guess what? All-time PRs that are grinders doesn't mean you're going to get another PR next time. So once form breaks down, and for you RPE people, RPE 10 actually is form breaking down, not a grinder, right? So if you're saying it's an RPE 7 and your form breaks down, it was an RPE 10. So that's some free advice for you as well. So if I'm going for the deadlift, I'm going to demonstrate it, right? If I'm going to go down and just do only knee drive, you're going to see the position change. The biggest takeaway you need to have from this is it doesn't matter if it's your squat, bench, or deadlift. It's about the setup. If the setup is done correctly every time, you're going to have a great lift. The setup sucks. You don't have the air in the right place. Your arms are not fully length and slack taken out of the bar when you're touching the bar. It's not going to go anywhere really well. Your bar can get away from you. If you try to do that quick jerk thing or roll away, whatever you saw on social media, it's going to impact your lift overall. So if I'm doing just knee drive only, it's going to look like this. Down to the bar, set myself, air, and push my knees forward. I'm sitting. Now I'm squatting it up. It's going over me. My knees are still going forward. I'm already back in a reclined position and then up. In a heavy grinding lift, that could be a good thing if the timing is good for speed to look more like this. But again, that bar is going to move awkwardly, right? If I'm just doing the same thing with just my hips forward and I'm sitting hips forward more and more and more, the bar is away from me. It's a longer pull to the top. What you want to see is that tight position of slack out the bar, collarbones up, hips forward into a lock position, not completely forward, just locked, and drive both the hips and the knees forward at the same time. I'm not on my toes, I'm on my heels. I have a successful and tight lockout, which will give me all white lights. So again, practice that slowly. Even if you have to take a PVC pipe and practice it over and over again. Best way to practice a deadlift is not from the ground up, it's actually from the top down, okay? Give that a try, see what improvements you make on your deadlift, and see if you get a PR.